I played Ori and the Will of the Wisps. So, Ori and the Will of the Wisps is the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, and I have played that game. I played that game last year. It was really good. I think Ori and the Will of the Wisps is even better, and I had a better time with it. It took me about 12 and a half hours to beat. It's a platform adventure Metroidvania game developed by Moon Studios and published by Xbox Game Studios, released in 2020. Now, I could not find sales numbers on just The Will of the Wisp or Blind Forest, but the series as a whole, so those two combined, has sold 10 million copies. Ori is one of those games that I have seen for a long time now, and I just haven't gotten to it, but I'm so glad I finally did. The first thing I want to talk about with Ori and the Will of the Wisps is the art style. The art style is incredible. It's a blend of 2D and 3D and what looks like paintings at some points. It's so good. Every single background piece is just amazing to look at. There's so many moments in this game where you'll be walking up to a ledge and then a little tiny cutscene plays and you see this incredible background and view and stuff in the foreground, stuff in the background. It all just looks so freaking good. The music in Ori and the Will of the Wisps is incredible. It gives you this sense of adventure, but also mysterious and such a weird, crazy vibe that I just love. The music and the art style go so well together. But the basics of Ori and the Will of the Wisp is it's a Metroidvania platformer game. So the map, being a Metroidvania, is humongous. It's all connected, and you can't get to certain parts of the map early game without unlocking different moves, like the double jump, or there's like a grapple hook, or you can shoot off of enemy projectiles. There's moves where you can dive through sand and eventually swim through water. So it's as you are exploring the map, and that's kind of like the name of the game when it comes to Metroidvanias, is you need to be okay being lost. You got to be comfortable just exploring in the unknown and just trying to figure things out, checking your map constantly, trying to get your bearings, seeing where you've been, where you haven't been, trying to keep mental notes of locations that you have found but you can't get to because of, like I mentioned earlier, that you don't have the moves or whatnot at that specific point. One of my favorite parts, if not my favorite part about this game, is doing just that, exploring and unlocking different parts of the map. It's always so much fun when you find a new ability that helps you get to more collectibles and more power-ups that you can collect along the way. Like I said, eventually you're going to get a double jump or you'll get a grapple hook that allows you to get more collectibles, which there's a bunch. You've got these orb collectibles, which act as like your money, and then you can get magic upgrades, you can get health upgrades, you can buy upgrades at shops and stuff that help you along the way. There are different abilities that you can select, kind of like very similar to the charms from Hollow Knight. Now, it's been a long time since I played the first Ori game. I from what I remember, I think it's very similar. I think this game has added new stuff and made it better, but it's still kind of the same concept of exploring this massive Metroidvania map while collecting collectibles and abilities and power-ups and whatnot. And it's really freaking dope. The boss fights in this game are so grand. The background art is amazing, and everything in this game just feels so alive, and it's breathtaking, honestly, is how I would describe this game. The scenery is amazing. The movement of your character flows so well, and is probably the best word I could describe Ori and the Will of the Wisps, is flow. The game just flows so well together. The exploration and the movement and the power-ups and the collecting and the boss fights, it all flows so well together. There are tons of side quests that you can do where you collect things and give to other characters or help them find certain things along the way. There's one part where you have to discover all of a certain section of the map because you can't buy it from the map maker because he hasn't explored that part yet. I think my favorite part of the game, and this happens often, are these chase sequences, where in the beginning you'll get in a chase sequence running from a boss or a bigger monster where you don't have that many moves, but you have like a 30-second to a minute chase sequence that you have to do perfectly, because if you fail or die, then you have to start that chase sequence over. And it feels so good, like going from the first chase sequence to the very last one, where you're chaining dashes and double jumps and grapple hooks and all sorts of different things, chaining all these moves together while navigating through the map and trying to do precise platforming is so much fun. You'll probably die a few times going through these chase sequences, especially in the beginning. But if you do nail them on your first try, it's freaking awesome. And once again, like, dying in this game doesn't feel bad at all. There's not really any punishment other than you're just retrying the sections. So instead of being kind of Souls-like, something like Hollow Knight or Dark Souls, where when you die you lose your money, that's not necessarily anything you need to worry about. The platforming sections are set up in a way where you can die and just retry them instantly. It's, once again, the word I would use to describe Ori is flow. The game flows so well together. Another fun part I liked about it is eventually when you get enough abilities, you are able to do different combos of moves to try and get to specific platforms, and the game allows you to do it in any way that you see fit. Like, there are times where I was trying to get to, like, money orbs that I would find or different health or magic upgrades, and I didn't necessarily have the correct way that the game devs intended for me to get it, but it was also the devs wanted the players to mess with the move sets and the physics of the game to try and platform in their own way. And I did it a lot of times where I would see something and I would try to get up to it. It would take me a couple minutes, but I'd eventually get to it without doing it the conventional way. And that's really fun. Like, I think one of the first times I ever experienced something like that was back in Mario 64 on the N64. But even more so was something like Mario Odyssey, where it really gives the power to the player, saying, hey, here's your movesets, that's the thing you need to get, have fun. And there were a lot of times in Ori and the Will of the Wisps where I did just that. I saw something and I tried to get it in whatever way that I saw fit. And I really liked that. I didn't feel like I was being held back at all. But once again, like, this game is beautiful. The art direction's amazing. The music is enchanting and great. The quests are fun. The main quest is fun. And I haven't even talked about the story yet, which there is a story there. I'm not really going to spoil any of it, but kind of the basics of it is you have a little owl friend that is, you guys get separated in a storm, and then it's up to you to find that owl friend. You eventually do, and then you also need to find the Will of the Wisps. You got to find the different wisps that are throughout the game. So it's not a humongous game, but it is big. Like I said, it took me about 12 and a half hours to beat. I did not 100% the game, but I got close. I think I collected all the magic upgrades. I collected all the health upgrades. I did most of the side quests. There's these ores that you can collect too. I think I got all of those, and I got all of the seeds as well. Regardless, like, it's a fun game, and if you haven't played Metroidvanias, or you have and you haven't really had fun because they're really difficult, Ori could be one of those games that you could play that would be like a good introduction to Metroidvanias, because it's not a difficult game. It's not a difficult game at all. There are parts and sections that are difficult, but very easily doable. Like, anybody, I think, could play this game and get through it. And I think it would be a very good first introduction to Metroidvanias to kind of get people hooked on the series, because it is fun. And once again, I think the game is designed so well that it just flows together. Everything in this game works so well together. The art style, the music, the movement, the level design, the boss fights, like, it's all so good, man. It's Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This is probably up there for my favorite game I've played this year. I haven't decided which one it's going to be yet. I'll probably talk about that at my end of the year video, talking about all the games I've played throughout the year. But Ori's got to be up there. It was so good. So if you haven't, you can play the first and second game. They're both a fun time. They're relatively short, I would say, kind of probably the average length of a video game. So once again, I beat Will of the Wisps in about 12 and a half hours, and I loved every second of it. I beat it incredibly fast. I think I beat the game within a week because I was just loving it that much. So those are my thoughts on Ori. kind of the Ori series, but more specifically the Will of the Wisps. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below in the comment section. Let me know if there's things that I missed. Let me know if there's things that you liked and didn't like about the game. And if there's other Metroidvania games that you think I should try because I would like them. Let me know down below. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and as always, keep it rad.